Hey, in retrospect, that report about the Niners being interested in Pete Carroll was hilarious, wasn't it? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the Cohn Phone. It's Friday. The Niners have been doing all kind of things. Finally, they weren't doing much. Now they're doing stuff. Whole league's been doing stuff. I'll catch you up on the drama, and then I'd like you guys to call in. The link is in the description. It's pinned in the chat. Don't be shy. I'll be here for the next hour. So if you haven't been following, it seems as though Robert Saleh is coming back. It's not official yet. He could still become the head coach of the Cowboys or the Saints, although the Cowboys haven't hired a head coach who isn't white ever. So I don't know if they're going to make, an exception for Robert Saleh. I don't know what Jerry Jones is thinking on that one, but Niners seem to be pretty confident that Robert Saleh is coming back. Matt Mayoko reports that he's hearing or that he expects Brandon Staley will not be coming back, which is funny because just a couple of days ago, it seemed like he might be becoming their defensive coordinator. They were going to promote him by default, just kind of like they promoted Nick Sorensen by default last year. But then here comes Robert Saleh, the white knight, riding in to save everyone's job or something. So I'd like to know what you guys think of Robert Saleh coming back. Does he fix their issues? What do you think of Deebo Samuel's trade market? Is there one? Are there teams that would want his services? I mean, Tampa's losing Chris Godwin. Would they want to add Deebo Samuel to an offense that already has Mike Evans and Cade Otton? Maybe. Would the Rams want him? I mean, Cooper Kupp is absolutely freaking washed. If Saleh comes back, is he bringing back former 49ers players with him? Is Javon Kinlaw coming back? I hope so. Is Solomon Thomas coming back? Fingers crossed. These are things that I'm wondering about. Are you wondering about them as well? I just want to take a moment. For a few days, we were really considering the 49ers getting Pete Carroll as their defensive coordinator, as if that ever was an option. And there was a report that the Niners were throwing his name around. Like, they didn't really know how they felt about it, but they might consider him. Like, he wasn't considering them. I think it was a kind of a funny report. Reminds me of the report last year that the Niners were kind of sort of thinking about getting Bill Belichick to be their defensive coordinator. Like, he's kind of sort of not thinking about you ever. He's not going to work underneath Kyle Shanahan, and neither would Pete Carroll. So that was fun. I like when reports come out that are like obviously not going to happen. So that was one of them. And then finally, like, one thing I want to say before, I'm gonna do a little spiel and then we'll get some calls. Make sure you call in. Link is in the description. Darius 408, you're first. You got to turn on your camera. But this is breaking news. DeMeco Ryans has fired offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick just 2 years into their run together in Houston. They both came from the 49ers. Of course, DeMeco Ryans was the defensive coordinator. Bobby Slowick was their pass game coordinator. He brought Slowick over last year. Slowick got a lot of praise for the work he did with CJ Stroud. And at that point last year, the 49ers, the Kyle Shanahan offensive scheme was all the rage around the league. Cut to 2024, 2025. Those schemes haven't been doing so well. Bobby Slowick had a really bad year. CJ Stroud regressed. And rather than ride it out, DeMeco Ryans threw his offensive coordinator under the bus. So that's kind of interesting. Like, maybe DeMeco Ryans is under more heat than we realize, even though he won a playoff game. Or maybe he's just smart and realizes that Bobby Slowick isn't that good and that the 49ers, the Kyle Shanahan offensive system, isn't necessarily the present and the future of the league. Maybe he's cutting bait, and it'd be interesting to see who he gets to replace Slowick. Is it going to be from the 49ers Kyle Shanahan tree? I'm inclined to think he won't be. I think one of the key moves of the year for the Commanders when they brought in Dan Quinn was not to get an offensive coordinator from the Kyle Shanahan tree. They brought in Cliff Kingsbury, who is doing something different. And the thing about the Shanahan scheme is it's kind of been overexposed to the NFL. There's so many teams use it. So many teams know how to defend it. So Slowick's out, and that seems like not a vote of no confidence, but a kind of a vote of no confidence in that scheme from someone who came from the 49ers. So that's a very interesting move. Also, one more thing that DeMeco Ryans did, and this kills me. You guys don't know about this, and maybe you don't care, but he also fired their offensive line coach. When he went to that franchise, Houston, 2 years ago, they had an offensive line coach, George Warhop, who's really, really good. He's been in the league since 1996. He's one of the few African-American offensive line coaches in the NFL, if not the only one. For long stretches in the NFL, he's been the only one. And he sticks around because he's really, really, really good, although he hasn't until recently been on a really good team with a really good coach that provided stability. So anyway, he was in Houston with Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith gets fired. DeMeco gets the job. Holds on to George Warhop for a few weeks, creating the impression that he's going to keep George Warhop. And then late in the hiring cycle, fires him. Brings in this other guy, which is a rough thing to do. As Niner fans know, Niners did it to Steve Wilkes. You fire a guy late in the cycle, chances are he's not getting another job that year. So Warhop had to sweat it out. It wasn't in the league in 2024. You never know if you're going to get back in. It's a tight-knit, small fraternity. Gets hired by, that was 2023, he wasn't in the league. 2024, gets hired by the Ravens. Now, finally, Warhop's in a great organization with a coach who has job security, and he's can actually put roots into Baltimore, and that team's doing really well because for one of the reasons, they have a really good offensive line coach who DeMeco Ryans just served up to him. And now DeMeco has fired the offensive line coach that he brought in to replace George Warhop, who's better than this guy. And the reason he brought in this offensive line coach is because he's a scheme fit with Bobby Slowick, who is just gotten fired. So, young aspiring coaches out there, don't just fire good, experienced, veteran coaches simply because you don't know them or they haven't been as exposed to your scheme, whatever scheme it is, because schemes are kind of like fads. They come and go, and you never know when you'll be firing your scheme coach. For DeMeco, it was after 2 years. I also think it's interesting that Robert Saleh did the same thing. He fired his offensive coordinator that he got from the 49ers after 2 years, Mike LaFleur, with the Jets. So it's interesting. It's possible that that DeMeco Ryans and Robert Saleh's first tenures as head coaches could both be failures because they picked the wrong offensive scheme, because they thought that bringing in a Kyle Shanahan knockoff would be the key to success. It wasn't for Saleh. He had to pivot to Nathaniel Hackett, who's worse. And now DeMeco Ryans, it's going to be interesting to see who he pivots to. So DeMeco, I didn't realize he was on thin ice, but it seems like he is. If you have a quarterback like CJ Stroud, you don't get as much credit for exceeding expectations because you're not exceeding expectations. You won one playoff game, great. You have CJ Stroud. You're supposed to do better. And your offense stunk all season. He wasn't that good. So a lot of pressure on DeMeco Ryans, more pressure on him than on Kyle Shanahan for some reason. Joseph for real says can't join because personal goals. It is a Friday. But here's almost $10 to holla. My last name is Stockbridge. So even if Saleh is a temporary bridge, may his impact leave a Golden Gate impression on Kyle. Joseph for real, thank you very much. I appreciate your donation. Chris V says, it's my B-day today. I turned 25. Sing me a song, bro. Happy birthday, Chris V. Happy birthday. What'd you think? Did you like it? Was the song good? All right, Darius is the only person that has the guts to call in. The link is in the description. All you guys are cowards, and I'm disappointed. But Darius, you're up.
Good morning, Grant. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can't get your camera on?
No, I don't know what's going on. I gave access to Safari, Google, everybody, man. I don't know what's going on with that.
That's all right, man. What's going on?
I just want to say there is no answer other than Kyle. That's the only one that's going to solve. Hold on, check this line out, man. Hold on. I need you to hear this loud and clear.
Okay.
I need the Niner Nation to hear this loud and clear. Because I have a group chat full of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And they think every year the solution is spending more money. Pay this guy. Pay that. No, hell no, it ain't. At the end of the day, there's only one person blowing that lead when we up 13 after half. I don't give a fuck. Oh, my bad. I don't care who you have as a defensive coordinator. It could be me. We have so much talent. They're going to get it done regardless. We see that. It's this damn offense. It's this damn offensive genius, air quote, Everybody loves so much. Sometimes, man, sometimes it is what it is. It's like it's just the proof is in the pudding. Like we can't ignore the fact that this man he will he'll just self-destruct. I don't get it. And you know, I got love for Salah. I hope he does come. Like we need a backbone. We need somebody strong, a leader of men. But at the end of the day, he's not calling them offensive plays. That's really, that stalls out when we're up. It just that offense just stalls out. I don't get it.
I think it's interesting that like the Niners offense had a down year. The Texans offense had a big down year, and they just fired their Shanahan knockoff coach. And the Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins had a big time down year. I mean, their offense wasn't good. It was like subpar. So that whole brain trust, their stock is down. And even DeMeco, who comes from their tree, is like cutting bait to save his own bacon. And it's going to be interesting to see where he pivots now. But like all of a sudden, you're
Yes.
looking at this tree, at this scheme, and thinking like, is it passe? Is it outdated? Has it been figured out? Is there another evolution to it?
It's
I don't know.
definitely been figured out, and I think it's a little bit of complacency too with Kyle. I just feel like he leaves it on his players' shoulders too much instead of like trying to be creative and help him out. I mean, goddamn, bro, look at Debo, man. Oh, man, come on, bro. Like, I hate to hate on him, man, because he's a professional. I'm not, but I could tell when you out of shape, bro. Like, I don't want to compare apples and oranges, but
And Kyle's
you
like, well,
look
he was
gassed
in
out
shape
there.
in training camp, but then he got hurt and then he missed practice. It's like, okay,
Come
well,
on, man.
he's going to
Like, we
get
can
hurt
see
next
that.
year too.
Come on, man. It's in live action. We can see it. We all got eyes. We can see what's going on. So it's like, with that being said, Kyle, like, make
And
some
it's like,
play. And I
hold on,
don't.
Darius, before you move on, it's like, Kyle, you've gotten rid of Sorensen and Schneider and brought back Salah. Man, all that's great. You're going to get rid of Staley. All that's great. Jake
Right.
Moody is still here. Debo Samuel is still here. Why?
And
Those are
that's,
the
oh
moves
my
you really
gosh.
got him. Those two can't be here, and they're still here, and I gotta wonder why. So there's only so much Robert Saleh can do.
That's burning me, Grant. The whole running back shit. Like, come on, this ain't no big family. No, this is a business,
It's so
man.
funny that the
Like,
big changes they made this offseason was to take it back,
shut
take it
up,
back to the
Grant.
old school.
Shut up, bro. That was their big yeah. Like, all right,
Yeah,
you know what? Let's get rid of the new.
yeah.
Let's get rid of the new. That's what happened. That's where we messed up at.
How are we gonna evolve by taking it back by going back to the future? Hell yeah, love that. Well, it
Oh
could
my
work.
goodness.
Robert Saleh has a big task in front of him, and they haven't hired him yet. Again, if you're watching, they haven't announced anything. He's still waiting on the Cowboys. And to me, the Cowboys' options are promote Brian Schottenheimer, hire Kellen Moore, or hire Robert Saleh. I mean, if Robert Saleh says he's willing to work with Brian Schottenheimer and keep the offense the same for Dak, that's who I would want.
Man, I've heard a rumor they was thinking about getting Kellen Moore again. So I mean, Kellen Moore and Robert Saleh, that could work. That could work.
It could work. I don't know. I don't know.
And then you got Jerry Jones at the GM. Oh shit, Super Bowl.
All right, man. I got to take some more calls. Thanks a
Uh,
lot, Darius. All right, take care.
man, every day.
Peace. Niner gang, you're up. What's up? You
Got
always
me?
call in with the McDonald's Wi-Fi, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm at work out here in the parking lot, just sneaking out to get a little call in with you, man.
I know
gotta
how
make
it goes.
happen.
Let's do it.
Man, let's do a little PG role play. I'm the
Okay.
Niners, you're Saleh.
Okay.
I need you to come back. Why do you want to come back? What is intriguing about us that you want to come back and coach for us? Why?
Don't talk to me like I need you more than you need me. I got questions for you, Jed and Kyle. Are you going to spend this first round pick on defense? Like, what do I got to work with here? Why should I want to work here more than with Detroit? Because they might be interested too. I see Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and Diamador Lenore. And I like Malik Mustafa. That's 4 players. What else we got here? Oh, you got a phone call. I already know it.
I'm back.
Back?
Sorry, got a call.
You got a phone call.
So, anyways, back to this real interview we're having here. How are you going to turn around our defense to get it back to what it was? Mind you, we're considering trading maybe Bosa, maybe getting rid of Fred, or maybe getting rid of Dre, possibly getting rid of Talanoa Hufanga. We're not sure about Jair. So, how are you going to make all that work?
Look, no promises, but I'll tell you one thing. I'll bring the energy and the enthusiasm back to this team because it's looking a little dead from the outside. I'll bring all that back. I'll fix the culture of the team because I'm the one that created it to begin with. And I will really improve the defense schematically because right now you got a defense that doesn't have any creative pressures. I'll bring creative pressures. You don't have any disguised coverages. I'll disguise coverages. I mean, I will bring this defensive scheme into the modern era because right now you're just running like a knockoff of what I was doing or what Pete Carroll was doing 10 years ago, and it sucks. So I can really help you out in a lot of ways, but you also have to give me players because when I was here 4 years ago, we had all kind of first round picks up and down the defensive line. Now we don't. And if you expect me to have a defense that's number one in the league, you actually have to give me some talent. Because Detroit has talent.
Okay, well, you might get one
Aiden
or two
Hutchinson
of those
looks
picks.
pretty good. I just might want to coach
You'll get
Aiden
one or two
Hutchinson.
of
I don't
those
know. I've been
picks.
thinking about it.
You'll get one or two of those picks. Kyle's going to get the rest on offense. That's what you got to work
Wonderful.
with. Flip script real quick, then I'll let you go. Is now I'm Robert. You're Jed. Why should I come back here and try to help you rebuild your defense? And after I've seen what you did to your last two OCs, the roster sucks. It's just too much pressure. Way too much pressure in an organization that the leader, Kyle Shanahan, has not showing any involvement in his overall grand scheme of things.
Robert, that is a great question. And I'm so glad that you brought it up. My answer is simple, and I'm going to deliver it in the form of a question. Do you like money? A lot of it. Whole lot of it. Do you love it? How does $4.5 million per year? How does $5 million a year? However much the Raiders are going to pay you, the Lions will pay you more because we are desperate. That's the word that I was looking for. We're freaking desperate, man. We ran out of options. We hired Nick Sorensen last year, dude. We can't get this wrong. So pretty much you got us over a barrel. However much money you want, we're prepared to pay it.
Okay, well, you're going to have to pay me $1 million less than Kyle because he's not evolving, and this could be career suicide for me because if I don't get the pieces to evolve this defense to somewhat better than it at least was this past season, my name is going to be the only one out there that is getting drugged through the mud.
Okay,
what
well,
do you do?
My name is Jed York, and I approve of paying Robert Saleh $13 million a year. I think that's fair. I just did it.
Done.
Boom.
Done.
Done.
Let's do it. We're moving
Good
forward.
stuff, man. Go back to work.
Have a good day, Grant.
Peace, man. That was fun. I like doing PG roleplay, as he put it. TY says 100% schemes come and go. Talented players on their rookie contracts are forever. That's so true. Hope we draft well this time. Niners need more of those players. Those guys are cheat codes. All right, Aeneas, what's going on?
Yo, what's good, Grant?
What's good? What's good?
So I'm low-key feeling optimistic with this Robert Saleh potential signing with Pete Carroll and Liam Cohn getting signed.
Please hit us with some optimism.
What makes me so optimistic? Because, I mean, if he could take us to the Super Bowl as a DC with Jimmy G, Brock Purdy should be able to do the same thing, if we're being honest. But I like what you said on the coaches meeting for a second-round QB or draft like a college QB. Because if we draft, like, for example, Will Howard or like Will Howard is who I'm looking at for real. But if we can draft like in the second round Will Howard and then we draft like a tackle, what do you think about that? Because I think we can low-key get back with Robert Saleh as the DC.
Yeah, I mean, they got to go trenches like first and second round, most likely in whatever, like O-line, D-line, whatever order. But then in round 3, they have 2 picks. And if they were to take a quarterback with one of those picks, it would make a lot of sense to me considering they need one. And if it's Will Howard, if it's Dylan Gabriel, those guys seem like they could sort of do the same offense that Brock Purdy does. Or if they want to have someone who's like way different, like their dual threat project, there's Jalen Milroe from Alabama. But all these
I
guys
think
kind
they
of
should
look
get a
like
big arm.
backups.
I think they should get a big arm QB.
They could probably trade for Will Levis. Will Levis might get cut.
I mean, I think a prospect will probably be better, to be honest. But Will Levis, he ain't that bad. But who you think?
Well, Will
Who
Howard
you
doesn't
think
exactly
will
have a
get
big
the
arm.
draft at number 11? Because I've been
What's
seeing
that?
a lot of tackles, and I'm honestly hoping we go O line.
Yeah, I mean, in the first round, I'm kind of. To me, if you don't have your O-line squared away, that's your number one need. And yeah, D-line's important too, and there's defensive tackles they could take in round 1. But I'm looking at the offensive lineman. I don't want to get Mike McGlinchey. You don't want to just take a guy in round 1 because you need a guy. But there should be some players who are more explosive and athletic than him in round 1. I'm looking at Kelvin Banks from Texas. Although
Sure.
I want to see him at the combine. They
him.
say he might be shorter than 6'4". I don't know if he's a guard or a tackle, but his tape is a lot
but
more.
Even if for like
fun to
maybe like
watch.
a year we move him to guard, left guard, and then have McKivitz play out his last year. But we also, I think, if what you're saying, we have 2 third-round picks, get a linebacker because I've been seeing on Fred Warner's story, like there was on Twitter about Dre Greenlaw signing to another team might be his last year. So if we can get a linebacker in one of the first 3 rounds, I think that could also help us out too.
Yeah, linebackers as big of a need as anything.
I don't know why people on here be just hating on Talanoa Hufanga. Like he had pick 6 on Max Stafford. He's done a lot when he could actually play. And
to me, I'd rather re-sign Talanoa
Hufanga
than Dre Greenlaw because Talanoa Hufanga is younger.
Yeah,
and Greenlaw,
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So. Hufanga shouldn't be too expensive. Like he's the second best safety on the market after Javon Holland, but Holland's gonna get a lot more money than I see. Like there's no reason not to bring Hufanga back unless you really think he's gonna keep getting hurt.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we need to target like a tackle in round 1, D lineman or QB, and then linebacker, and then probably get another corner because I think Renardo Green and put Lenore in the nickel, and we can get another DB, maybe even a vet. But it just depends because the vets we've got, Yadam and well, I don't even know who the other dude because we lost Samuel Womack and he's been cooking on the Colts. But I don't know about a vet.
I mean, honestly, you could argue that where the Niners are at, like they could go O-line with their first 2 picks. If they went offensive tackle in round 1 and guard in round 2, I'd get it. Or guard in round 1 or center in round 2, something like that. Like you could understand because until you have that foundation settled, I don't really see how you can. I mean, especially if you're about to pay a quarterback all that you're about to pay him, you might want to get that offensive line squared away with people that are on rookie deals.
Because really, the top teams left got a great O-line.
All of them. All of them. So I don't know. Something to think about. But you don't want to reach for a player just because he plays a certain position. But if the guy's there, like last year, people were talking about taking an offensive tackle, and the Niners were like, "Yeah, we'd love to, but we're picking 31st, and it's kind of hard to find the next Trent Williams this late."
Yeah,
sure. Well, now you got the 11th pick. I mean, you might not be up here this high for a while.
Yeah,
so,
at least probably I would say if they get Robert Saleh, it'll be probably like a 2-year back window where they can make something happen.
Yep. Sounds good. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, Nice. Thanks for having me in. Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for having me on. I don't know what I'm talking about. Juan Jimenez says, Stephanie, don't talk bad about Kyle. He's my coach. Hell yeah. Shout out to Shardal. And Tang, he's my fullback that fumbles at the goal line. Don't talk bad about Debo either. He's a first-team All-Pro decoy. All right, Juan, I feel you. Dave, you're up. What's going on, Dave?
Cohn. Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on, dude.
Thanks for coming on.
Hey, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of excitement.
Daily.
Hey, it's what a soap opera this team is. I swear, it's crazy. I just want to touch on the Saleh situation. It's a lot of excitement. A lot of fans are excited. There's 2 ways to look at it. I mean, one, we had success under Saleh. He brings juice to the team that our head coach, frankly, doesn't. He's more energetic. But there's 2 ways to look at it. One, there's familiarity, and he brings that. But the other thing too is like if you're playing devil's advocate, like, is this just another sign of the Niners not wanting to change? Saleh would be like the golden piece of not changing the white nine or whatever ancient
Mhm.
philosophy they're trying to hold on to that. And getting him is like, oh, look, we're back, you know.
Like
And
in a sense, like getting him allows them to not change.
exactly. So
Right.
that now makes a lot of people happy. But honestly, yeah, getting him is a start, but that can't be, well, we got Saleh back, so we're back, baby. No, the problem is they have to get players,
Right.
because if you look at it, ever since Buckner left, they haven't had a difference maker other than Bosa. They have had swings and misses in the draft and the free agency. Kinlaw, you paid for Hargrave, you brought in Gross Matos, you paid Leonard Floyd, you got these
Ebukam.
you got these deep tackles nobody ever heard of. Like, no, it's just been blah. Other
Yeah.
than Bosa, and everybody
Malik
kills
Collins.
Bosa. Yeah, everyone kills Bosa because he's not doing anything. Well, I mean, when you're the opposing offense, all you got to do is game plan for Bosa. Really,
The whole thing.
Like,
Yeah.
like, so, I mean, Saleh's a good start, but it can't be, well, we got Saleh, we're back. No, you need to, and I'm listening. You guys talking about offensive tackle. You got to go get Carter. I know he might be out of our price range, but you got to get a stud in the defensive line. Look at the Eagles. You know why they're there? They're there, yeah, Saquon Barkley, but look at Howie Roseman and how he's built that defensive line. He gets defensive line every year. Even signs him in free agency. Like,
also, what he does with all O-line and D-line, he'll see a player getting old or approaching the end of his contract, and he'll draft a guy a year or two ahead of time. So with Jason Kelsey, like the best center franchise history, they're looking at him thinking he's like 34, he's 35. He's still one of our best players, but he could retire at any time. Let's draft Cam Jurgens, I think round 2. And they sat him for a year. They put him at right guard for a year. And then finally, when Kelsey hung it up, they were ready for it. Unlike the Niners they never draft centers. They drafted no defensive linemen at all last year. So now it's like, you're going to have to cut Javon Hargrave. Well, you haven't drafted anyone. There's no one you've been developing. Now you have to draft someone or sign someone. You're scrambling. Howie Roseman would never.
it's the same on the offensive line too, bro. Everybody's screaming, "Oh, we need offensive linemen." Well, 2 years ago, they didn't sign or draft any offensive linemen. Look it up. They didn't bring in any, not an undrafted offensive line, nothing. So now everybody's crying, "Oh, we need offensive linemen." They've been need offensive linemen. So yeah, now they're stuck, because now you can go either way in the first round. You go either way in the second round. But another topic I want to bring up, since I got you here, I don't know. How do you feel about this? I feel like the 49ers fan base, I've never seen it this divided. I've never seen it this divided where, if you're critical of Kyle, or if you're critical of Brock, or if you're critical of John, you're not a real fan.
Yeah.
And I speak to, like, I grew up, I was a
Like
fan.
these issues are like ending friendships.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really bad now.
It's crazy.
You're ridiculed because you're being critical. You're calling out stuff. You're not a real fan. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, you're casual.
Yeah. And look back under Eddie DeBarlo. I know there was salary cap back then, but would he stand for this? Would he, like, people talk about Kyle like he has a statue outside the stadium?
No, that's Sean McVay.
Yeah, he is God. But I think people, there's a portion of people who are, there was a standard under Eddie DeBarlo where a lot of stuff wouldn't fly, and there's a standard now where, well, at least we're not Tom Sula and Chip Kelly, and people are holding on to that, and it's okay.
I'm looking at a team that just went 6-11 though, so I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, we had a bad year, injuries. You see, they'll make the excuses that in another time that those excuses wouldn't fly, but now. Yeah, because we got Kyle Shanahan when we got him in a rough spot. We were desperate when we hired him. We were in a tough spot. And we got the hottest coordinator at the time. We gave him too much power, in my opinion. He didn't deserve to have final say. He was just a coordinator. He was never a head coach. But they gave him Bill Belichick power. And you can't take it away now. So now he is the end-all, be-all of this franchise. And people idolize him. And you've called them out plenty of times, and valid points. People cannot dispute the facts are the facts. as much as the success we had, the Super Bowls, NFC championships, you said no to Tom Brady. You drafted Trey Lance. You did. That set us back. Now you can try to shut underneath the rug all you want. You ignored the offensive line all these years. You did that. Not us, the fans. You did that. But people will try to shove beneath the rug and ignore it because we went on some magical runs. But now a lot of stuff is catching up. My issue with Shanahan is this: is he a good coach? I guess fine. My thing is he makes it harder than it needs to be.
Yep.
He just makes it harder than it needs to be. He goes against the grain. He loves to do with regular average quarterbacks, where other teams want to get elite quarterbacks. No, I don't want that. I give me Brock.
I don't need that. No, it's not that I don't want it. The level of arrogance is beyond it. I don't need it. I'm Kyle Shanahan. Everyone else, I get it, but I can go against the grain because I'm so much better. And that's why you pay me 14, 15 million a year.
Exactly. And look where it gets you. I mean, imagine if you had Tom Brady, you might have had Super Bowls instead of coming up short. So I mean, and there's, like I said, there's a division of the fan base that I've never really seen it like this before. We've always kind of hung together, but now it's like either you're with us or against us. You cannot have any critical thoughts, any well thought opinions. You either it's like orange slices, Capri Sun. No matter what, 6-11, go Niners. Yes.
It just feels like people are definitely like there's a line in the sand, and it's either like people on one side think they're being loyal to the organization. Like, look, this is bigger than Kyle. He's had more than enough chances. I'm not saying he deserves to get fired, but we can do better. And then there's the other people on the other side of the line that are saying, if you're not with Kyle Shanahan, you're not with us. This is Kyle's team. This is the Santa Clara Kyle Shanahans, and we're all in. And a lot of people that resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm not saying fire him. All I'm saying, the seat should be warm, if not hot. That's fair.
I think it is, though, because we look at Jed and we think, man, that guy is not particularly tough, and he's not going to lay down the law. But we don't know how his mom feels. We don't know how his dad feels. When you have to fire the special teams coordinator and the defensive coordinator, and you have to promote someone to offensive coordinator that could potentially get fired, it feels like the seat has. And I love talking about hot seats with fans. It's like, is it 275? Are we talking 350 here? Like, what exactly is the temperature? But I think there's a little bit of temperature here right now.
I think the final straw for him, in my opinion, might be Brock Purdy, because if you sign him and it doesn't work and he turns into Jimmy 2.0, that has to be the final straw. Bro, it's been 8 and then going on 10 years and we can't figure out a quarterback. And then we gave this guy all this money and we're still coming up short. Like,
and he can't act like Purdy was imposed upon him the way Jimmy Garoppolo was. Like, this is your guy. You have every opportunity to tell front office and ownership, like, I don't think this is a good investment. Let's do something else. But no, on the record, time after time, it's the only quarterback I want to coach. He's the only guy I want. As long as I'm here, he's the only guy I want here. All right, man. Well, you better be right.
Remember his dad? Oh, I knew in training camp. He was the guy. No excuses. No excuses. I don't care how small his hands are. I don't care how cold it is outside.
Yeah. I don't care if Christian McCaffrey's healthy or not.
Exactly. No.
Yeah. He's making $61 million a year. He better be freaking elite consistently.
Oh, in the cold, in the rain, in Green Bay, I don't care. I don't care.
In a train, in a box with a fox. He better be that dude.
Yeah, no. And you know what it is about Brock too? People, you can't be critical of him either because he's a really nice guy. He is really nice. He's really hard to root against, but the limitations are the limitations, bro. I mean, I'm sorry. Look at Kyler. Very talented, but he's short. He always has to run to make a throw. Tua, same thing. Sometimes the limitations catch up to you in the most unopportune time, And it's the same with Brock.
I like Brock. I just feel that, again, it's what do you do now that you have Brock? These are the 49ers.
Yeah.
This is Bill Walsh's team. He had Joe Montana, greatest quarterback ever, and he's like, you know what? I need another quarterback just in case. He
Right.
was still looking. He had the elite of elites, and he was like, I might need to go find someone with a little bit more dynamic of a skill set. So that's the mentality. You're never done looking. Okay, if you want to sign Brock and give him all the money in the world, I mean, that's between you and your checkbook and your accountant or whatever. You can make it work, I guess, but you're not done looking for a quarterback. You're not
No.
out of the market.
No.
No. You haven't found an elite quarterback yet. You could pay him whatever you want to pay him, but you haven't found an elite quarterback yet. So you're still looking for one.
I would bring in Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson?
Yeah. I think he'll be cheap. I think he had a year under Sean Payton. He's an elite talent, like some of these other guys that had to get another chance. He was a number 2 overall pick. I would
He's
bring
watched Bo Nix. He could watch Brock Purdy. He could see just how to hit the layups. And then after that, he's got a lot of the scrambling ability that Brock has, playmaking ability that Brock
He
has.
went to BYU like Steve Young. I mean, come on.
It's worth a shot. I mean, they got to bring in 2 quarterbacks for camp. They have Purdy and Mordecai. They'll need 2 more.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson, why not?
Yeah.
And then this draft, because what's nice about drafting a quarterback is you get him for 4 years.
Yes.
4. It's nice. Zach Wilson will be on a 1-year deal, maybe 2.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just no CJ Beathard, please, for the love of me. God.
Mullins coming back. Hey, how many people from the 2019 Niners can the Niners bring back this offseason? We got Saleh, maybe DJ Reed, maybe DJ Jones,
Mostert,
maybe Sherman.
We're going to bring back Mostert. We're going to bring back
Mostert.
McDaniels might get fired. Bring him back. Come
Slowick.
on, bring them all back. Let's go.
Because they almost won a Super Bowl together once in the past. Maybe they can almost do it again.
Win another one. We can do
almost.
It. We're the almost one dynasty.
I love the way the Niners phrase stuff. They talk about how they've been to Super Bowls. You know another way to say they've been to Super Bowls? They've lost Super Bowls. That's the other way to say it. But they talk about going to Super Bowls. No. The verb is lose. You lost the Super Bowl. We went.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What are your thoughts on John Lynch? I'm kind of getting fed up with him, to be honest.
I think like he's very polished and he does a good job of presenting himself, unlike Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
But he seems like the kind of guy who's been taking credit for other people's like legwork. And now that Adam Peters is gone, he seems like he's a little bit caught out there. Like, now I have to do the job instead of just putting a good face on other people's work. I'm not really cut out to do that. And I think a lot of the organizational dysfunction comes from the fact that they have a big vacuum, a big nothing at general manager.
Thank you. That and what kind of irritates me is his word salads at the podium. Just stop talking. Like, just do your.
Kyle is much more authentic than John publicly.
John is such to me, and he has great credentials as a player. Don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure he's a great human being, but he gets up there with this tough guy. Oh yeah, we're gonna find closers. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Well, first of all, you've been saying you're gonna find closers for years now. You guys never close. Who closes on the team? No
one.
You had a chance this offseason, John. You look who you brought in. You brought in Campbell. You brought in nobody's as your free agent, nobody to help you close the deal. And then as far as closing, look at all the holdouts that you've had throughout the years. All 5 of them got rewarded. Free, Debo, Trent, all of them got rewarded.
Yeah.
So what are we like what spare me the fake tough guy? Like we need a real GM. You have a strong face, you have a strong football background, but we don't have a real GM to really, do GM things. And if you're critical of him, Kyle and John took over a dumpster fire and turned it into this. Like, well, did he? Like, what does he do? No. Yeah. What does he do? I need to know what he does.
Yeah. Adam Peters did a lot. Kyle did a lot. Not sure what John Lynch did. And now that Adam Peters is gone, I think they need someone to take that job, be the assistant GM, which is another way of saying the general manager in place of John. Dave, good stuff, dude. Thank you. Great call. Do you know that he called me Cohn the whole time? I kind of liked it. My barber calls me Cohn too, and I never correct him. It's like, yeah, man, you can call me by my last name. Sometimes I call people by their last name. I'm not usually a last name guy, but you know what? I could be a last name guy. I feel like that's a guy to guy thing. Like, what's up, Miller? I kind of like that. Girls don't do that too. Girls do not interact that way. They just like randomly call each other by their last name. What's up, Jenkins? You don't do that. But like in the press room with the Niners, I mean, Eric Branch, we all call him Branch. Like you'd have to be a freaking psycho to call him Eric. You could call him Eric, but it's like he's Branch. It's Mayoko. It's Barrows. But I've never been a Cohn guy. I want to be a Cohn guy from now on. So thank you very much. Juan Jimenez says it's not about Kyle. You guys can point the fingers at him. You could talk about the Cabo crew. It's really unfair. That's my team. That's my quarterback, Brock. It's unfair. And if you guys do that, it's really unfair. We lost as a team. T.O. Love that. All right, Flav, can you turn on your camera or you want to just be okay? There you go. What's up? Flav, it's been a long time, man. How you been?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good, man. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. Just saw that you were having this. Thought I'd come on and give my 2 cents. But
what do you think of the offseason, man? How are things going?
I mean, dude, just it was a brutal season in general. Overall offseason, I guess just getting started. But I get the hire. I like the hire from San Francisco's point of view. Of course, I think, you don't have to worry about the players playing tough, or hard for Saleh. They love him. They respect him. Great guy. So, you don't have to worry about like weird Wilkes kind of stuff going on with like whether players are buying in and that sort of thing.
That was so weird the whole time.
That
Yes.
was
Yeah.
so weird. I guess though, but Saleh's like kind of your boy. Like you have a relationship with him a little bit. I'm kind of curious because to me it's weird that Saleh would take this job, kind of for me.
That's what I think, and he hasn't taken it yet. But I was like, really? Are you sure?
It's like to me, it only makes sense if he has basically gotten to a point where like, look, I tried being a head coach, I fucking hated it. Sorry, excuse my language.
Sorry.
I tried being a head coach, I hated it. Like I don't
get that vibe from him.
No, okay, yeah,
No.
that's what I was gonna ask you.
No,
So
I
you
don't get
think-
that. He seems like he's really holding out for these jobs, and he's trying to make the best case possible. I think he thought he was going to get that Jacksonville job. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me that from Dallas's perspective, I still think he'd be one of the better candidates out there.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And from Detroit's perspective, I think Saleh's better than Aaron Glenn. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I guess, and I mean, I personally felt like Cincinnati was the dream job for any D coordinator because I just think that that I think they should have been like a 12-win team last year. They kind of got going at the end. Any D coordinator that's going to go in there, not going to take a mediocre D on that team gets you to the playoffs.
You know what the
easy.
problem is with Cincinnati though?
Huh.
Cheap organization. They won't pay.
Oh,
you.
really?
And they won't give you resources. They're notoriously cheap. I don't even think they pay for their own scouting department. I don't think they have scouts.
Yeah.
Forgot.
I guess it just seems weird, it just seems like there was better or safer options for somebody whose plan was to later become a head coach again, as opposed to most money right now. Obviously you get that, but even if they do turn around, like how much credit is Saleh going to get for that as opposed to Kyle and Lynch and, basically
Also
going
this,
back.
how about this, Flav? So he's getting head coaching consideration coming off a disastrous year and a disastrous campaign with the Jets. Let's say he comes back to the Niners and does well, and the Niners have a top 10 defense. They go to the playoffs. Won't he be even more in demand next year? Aren't the Niners potentially putting themselves in a position where they have to get another defensive coordinator for the 4th year in a row?
Yeah, no, that's that's another good point.
It's a good problem to have, but it's a problem.
Yeah. I would say and I was kind of talking to Jesse about this last night because I'm again, I don't have high expectations, not because of Saleh. I think it's a great hire, but just the personnel is not what it was the last time he was here. It's not what he was when he was good with the Jets. And, I'm interested in seeing like
they had Quinnen Williams over there. What's he got now over here? Malik Collins.
Right. It's gonna they can't stop the run right now. And so and they can't get to the quarterback really either. They can't
other than that.
Yeah. And so that gets me to like kind of my point though with Purdy. I like Purdy. I like him a lot more around 50 million than 60 million. I'm kind of getting nervous about that, just hearing stuff. But to me, like a lot's made about, Purdy's weapons. If you pay him, he's not gonna have the weapons. Like that's not that big of a deal to me. Like that's supposedly why you have Shanahan is to kind of deal with that. But I do think with a quarterback like Purdy, you need like a top 7 defense. Yeah, you need a top 7 because
you don't want him throwing 35 passes. You just
right.
don't. Yeah,
And he's not that dude, and Shanahan's not that dude.
correct.
Shanahan is all about the run.
Mhm.
And so you're not gonna be able to outduel teams that are scoring
Consistently.
in every 5 minutes. Like it's just
No.
not gonna happen. So I think that they're gonna focus heavily on the defense again. That's what I would do, given what's already in place. Is you got to figure out how to stop the run and get to the quarterback and get back to some semblance of 2019 to whatever, to where you got to put up 25 points a game and you're probably going to win that game.
Yeah.
If you
At
are
one point
not
with this team, if they scored 20, they were good.
right, if you
Yeah.
can get back there, awesome. And that's where my focus would be, as opposed to, oh, we need to get Brock these weapons and that sort of thing. Like Kyle should be able to scheme up 25 points a game.
Well, here's my question for you, though. I feel like most people agree in round 1 that they should go trenches. Do you think they should go O-line or D-line if the players there are graded in a similarly?
This is what kind of sucks, is like, do they have too many holes to possibly fill in one offseason?
Maybe. They've put
Yeah.
themselves in a bad spot.
Like, is it even possible? But I would focus completely on the D, and Kyle, I think he's built his offense around not having a good O-line. And the thing is, you're playing, the reason why you can't come back in the fourth quarter is because as soon as the defense knows you're going to pass and you don't
It's over.
have the threat of the run, you're done with that O-line.
Yep.
And so you're going to keep having to play that game. But to me, it's like, if you don't have a top 10, top 7 D, we're done. We're done. Because we don't have a Burrow or a that kind of guy that could just sit back and tear you apart. So anyways, man, we'll see what happens. They got a lot of work to do. Hopefully, they need a lot of good luck with health and they need a hit. I feel like they had a good draft last year. I mean, a lot of those guys are pretty damn good, seems like.
Absolutely. But if they've taken a defensive tackle in round 1 this year, they've had some issues with that. So let's see if they can get it right. Bring back Kinlaw, baby. Blake, good to see you.
Later, buddy.
Later. They just might bring back Kinlaw. Just when I thought I was out of the woods. Cyrus, what's up?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Well, I want to start this off by saying that I have been a hater of yours for a while, but
hey, man,
as the season has gone on, I've hated how much I've agreed with you and a lot of the things you've been saying about this team. Like, I don't want to agree with you, but I have.
Fair enough.
And I'm from the Bay, grew up there, bleed red and gold. It's as my 3 best friends who are all diehard Raiders fans, they dance on our grave every year because us losing is their Super Bowl, right?
That is true. They don't have much to celebrate.
They don't, but to them, they still are on equal footing with us because we don't have a Super Bowl in our lifetime. But you don't know how many conversations we've had in the bar about this. But anyways, my question to you, or here's my thing, right, is I think conversations about Shanahan being on the hot seat this offseason is premature.
Okay.
But I think this year and this offseason is pivotal. And I think a lot of you've been talking about this already on this live stream for a bit, but I think we have an easy schedule next year. We have a top pick. Let's say we bring back Saleh. If it doesn't work this year, when's it going to work for the man?
That's what I'm saying. That's a great way to put it. And that's why I feel like he's on the hot seat now, in the sense that if it goes bad again next year, you can't fire your defensive coordinator again. There's no more scapegoats.
I mean,
you just fired all the scapegoats. They're gone.
And I think one of the things this season has been we just have looked tired this year. I think the last 5 years have caught up with this team. They've looked tired.
Kyle looked tired. Players look tired.
Dude, Kyle looks like he's 80.
He does, man.
And I mean, I get it. I honestly, this might sound crazy to some people in this chat. I'm okay with the season off in the playoffs. I can hang out with my friends on a Sunday. I can. I mean, I'm a terrible loser. My friends all know this, but I'm saying this because it means this much to me, and it means a lot to the people that are fans of this team, and having 4 years in a row of, devastating losses in the playoffs adds up, not just for me, but obviously the team as well.
Yeah. I think people don't it's hard to quantify what losing 2 Super Bowls does to a
Yep,
team, especially teams
100%.
that had like leads in the fourth quarters of both of them.
Yeah, dude. And even, obviously the Philly loss 2 years ago, it's always a what if, especially that was DeMeco's last year, like you don't know what was going to happen that year, but it was almost, it was almost worse in some ways because we never actually got to see ourselves finish that season off how we should have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that one, the 2 years with DeMeco, Purdy getting hurt and then losing to the Rams in the NFC Championship game after leading by 10 to start the fourth quarter. Because after that, they would have been able to face the Bengals in the Super Bowl, and they'd already beaten the Bengals that year in Cincinnati. That might have been the year, the biggest fumble of them all. Like you almost had an opportunity to.
Man. I think the year we lost to Philly, and obviously the luck was
Philly.
bad that year. You can't, losing 3 quarterbacks. I mean, Lance, a wash, whatever. But I think that season when we had CMC come in and then we had that run of, wins 10 the season, I think that was the year for us. And obviously it didn't work out. I never really bought into Wilkes' defense last year. I think, we scraped through the playoffs. We were honestly, we were lucky to make the Super Bowl last year.
True.
The Lions should have beat
Lucky
us
to make the
last
NFC
year.
Championship game.
We barely did. We barely did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I'm coming on just as a tired and frustrated fan, honestly. And like I said, I've been a hater, but I appreciate your candor about this team. So I'll say
That
that.
was a really good call. How do your friends feel about the Pete Carroll hire? Have you rubbed it in their face yet? Hey, good job, guys. Good luck.
It's funny because I'm like, so boys, like, how do we feel? And they're like, oh, it's, winning culture, Tom Brady's going to bring us to the promised land. And I'm like, all right, like, let's see it first, huh, guys? Like,
that's so funny because I have a diehard, well, not a diehard, a jaded Raiders fan. That's a very good close of mine, good close friend of mine. And I asked him like, what'd you think? And he just says, I don't understand the hire, ... at all. It's like, I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
But these boys, they're delusional. They are numb to the pain in a different way than we are numb to the pain. They are numb to being a loser franchise. And it's like, you should hear the delusion.
How old are
they? We're all 26. We're all 26.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wait 10 years. Give it another 10 years. You will be as jaded as my friend right here. It's 37.
I hope, man, because we literally had the same argument during Bills Ravens because they saw me and a couple of our other Niners guys talking, and they were like, oh, the Niners boys back at it, talking about the offseason. I'm like, you know what? You guys,
what do you have to talk about? Brock Bowers?
They got nothing to talk about. They got nothing.
Yeah. How Max Crosby doesn't want to play for you anymore? What do you got to talk about? Anyway,
but that's the thing, is that things are deaf to them. But anyways, man, I'll let you go, but appreciate you having me.
Thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it. You did great.
Hey, man. And next season, let's get back to it.
See you, Cyrus. All right, we got DJ Adams and then Gary Lamb. DJ.
What's up, Grant? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How you doing, DJ?
I'm doing good, man. With your question about how Robert Saleh needs to fix the defense, or if he will fix the defense, my perspective on it is that he better, because I think this next season is like the last run for Kyle and John, and there's nowhere for them to go if this doesn't work with this easy schedule. They need to have another deep playoff run, in my eyes.
I think
agree. They need to have a good draft.
Like just making the playoffs is good enough. If they are 10-7, they're a wild card team and they lose in the first round, I'm not sure that that's necessarily enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they need to nail this draft. I think they should go offensive line first. I would love for them to get Kelvin Banks.
Caller was saying defensive line, and I understand where he's coming from, but to me, I think you got to go O-line.
Yeah.
You don't have to have all these weapons. Again, that's what Kyle's supposed to be for, scheming guys open. You got to give Brock Purdy a chance to be upright.
McKivitz could Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is because Trent Williams probably will only be available like half the season. McKivitz is not very good, even though credit to him, he had a good season this past season. But
Good for him.
yeah, exactly. But I would love for them to get Kelvin Banks. I would love for them to get.
I like Kelvin Banks. I started watching him yesterday, and he's like very explosive on screens and runs.
Yeah.
I don't know how big he is, but he looks really good.
I think he's 6'4".
That's what
I don't think he's any taller than
because
that.
they often lie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
but exactly. I think that's what they need to do. I know that everyone's saying that the defense needs to get back to where it was. If they can get solid, that'd be great. But the offensive line is not it. You can fix the D line in free agency than the draft. It's much harder to do the offensive line in the free agency compared to the draft.
Good offensive linemen generally, I mean, they're so hard to find and they take time to develop that usually best to draft and develop them yourself and hold on to the good ones.
And keep them
for
for 4 years.
The Niners got so lucky with the Trent Williams trade. If they hadn't been gifted Trent Williams essentially from Washington's organizational malpractice, what would their offensive line be right now? McGlinchey at left tackle? I don't know. They kind of lucked out on that. Now they got to figure
What straight from Joe Staley to Trent Williams is very good.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a get out of jail free card for sure.
So we'll see how it goes. I do. What I'm saying is it needs to work this year. I think the defense will get back to where it was, but deep playoff run is needed. Nothing less than that.
Agree.
Otherwise, I think they're gone. Because the next offseason, it would be like, Jed, what are you going to do? Anything?
Who are you firing now? Like
Exactly.
Kyle, who are you going to fire this year? He's fired everyone.
He has nowhere else to go after this point.
Nowhere else to go. I think, again, when you fire multiple coordinators, I think it's kind of understood that you're the next dude on the chopping block. It's just the way it goes. You're going to fire
I think
Clayton
they'll make it
Kubiak.
far,
It's
though.
going to be his fault.
Can't do
But
that.
then what sucks is you give Brock this extension, and then potentially next year you fire Kyle Shanahan. So, like, who wants to coach Brock? Or
That's what
now
I'm
Brock
saying.
has a new system to learn. It's like, you just messed up that investment.
And that's what I've been saying for weeks, Grant, is that you pay Brock Purdy. There's not a lot of coaches that are going to want to take on that, just the same as I don't think a lot of coaches want to go to Jacksonville and take on Trevor Lawrence's contract.
Well, I think maybe more would want to do that than Brock, despite Brock's resume. Call it draftism or whatever you want, but Liam Cohn was willing to coach that team, that quarterback, as long as Balky wasn't there. I don't know how many coaches would be lining up and saying I could do a better job with Brock than Kyle did. I don't know about that.
That division's not very good either.
No, it's not at all.
Same time, the NFC West is not as good as we thought it would be this season.
It's not a very good division, but the Rams they're going to make some moves for their offense this year, I feel like. They know their offense isn't explosive. Watch them get another running back they can throw the ball to who's explosive as hell. Because Kyron's like solid, but he's not taking it to house.
They move on from running backs fast.
Way better.
That's a good point. The Rams are definitely going to still be good.
They're going to get their Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, they're not going to get someone that good, but they're going to get someone fast that they can throw the ball to.
This running back class is pretty good, though.
Yeah.
There's the guy from Texas Tech.
Ohio State. I like that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I like
it. Yeah, there's some good running backs. There's not good quarterbacks, but I do like Cam Ward, though. I think Cam Ward's going to be the standout in this draft class.
Yeah, and there's some.
I liked him at Miami.
Yeah, it's true. Hey, man, do you follow me on Twitter?
Yes, sir.
Hit me up.
I got you.
All right, man. I'll see you.
Appreciate you, Grant.
Gary Lamb, you're the last one of the day, baby. What's up? You got a whole setup.
Grant. Happy Friday, brother. Happy Friday. I have a question for you, and I'm a 49er faithful. But
I know you, Gary. Yeah, hit me up. What you got?
I love the 49ers, and I'm faithful, but how much faith can you possibly have in an organization where the CEO has to answer to mommy and daddy?
Damn.
Okay. And I don't know if that's reality, but that definitely is the perception, especially when you go through hard times. And that's the bottom line.
Do you think when the Niners went 6-11 that his parents sent him to his room for the night and said, you have to sit there and think about what you did? And Jed was sitting there like this. I'm so sorry, Mom. We should have done better.
Okay, my conspiracy is Jed likes it that way because he doesn't want to be the bad guy. You hear what I'm saying?
That's an interesting point.
I'm a
Who
therapist.
wants to be the bad guy in the organization? Not Jed,
No, he
not
doesn't.
Kyle, not John. It's Parag and the parents. They're the bad
Parag
guy.
and the parents.
Parag and the parents.
Oh, Parag. We couldn't because of Parag. And here's the
man. This guy over here, he's a tough one.
But Kyle don't take no shit. He is the authentic person in the organization, and that's another place. Okay, and this is why I disagree with you about firing Kyle, because the 49ers are a coach-dependent organization. When you don't got a big personality like Harbaugh, who can be, say what you want about Harbaugh, they have their flaws, and Kyle Shanahan, they are football guys. They are football guys. Hey, maybe it's not going to last because they're 6-11 now. So that's why I'm hesitant. It's out of fear. You don't want to work.
It's because the Eagles can go through coaches a lot, but the constant is Howie Roseman. He's going to keep building that team the way he builds it, and he's a really good executive. So if he has high standards and fires Doug Peterson after a couple bad years, it's fine. But if the Niners fire Kyle, it's like, okay, well, who's like you're just going to you have to completely start over and actually hire a new general manager who's strong. That's the thing. If the Niners do start over, I would like them to go in order the next time. You hire the general manager. He hires the coach. If you do it the opposite way, it's like, we freaking suck as a franchise. We're desperate. And we will like what the Jaguars just did with Liam Cohn. That was pathetic. Hey man, you name your price, you name your terms. We suck. Save us. I don't know that Liam Cohn can save him, but you just paid him to do it. We'll see.
Yes. Okay. And this is I think this is a trickle down effect from the toxic relationship that Jed York, not talking, it's overstating, but Jed York, his mom and dad come to practice when the team is bad. Okay. So but that leads to a GM who is not superior to the coach. The coach hires the GM. That doesn't make any sense. I agree with you about the I really, they're so secretive, which is good. It's better than the Balky era. We really don't know who the hell is making the draft picks. We don't know. But the sense is that it's not John Lynch. Okay, maybe we've heard it before. Kick John Lynch up to president. We do need a football guy on top because I don't trust the Yorks. Whether it's Kyle getting fired or there's no accountability for Kyle because no one can tell him what to do.
Tom Brady in the organization.
Kyle Shanahan is a brat. I personally like. He's a brat. He's who's gonna tell him what to do? He's like a privileged kid. Yeah, that's it.
Me.
Yeah.
Who?
Or
you, Gary.
me. That's right. And I don't dislike the guy, but he's living in a bubble because he gets what he wants. No, I don't want you to leave, Brandon. I'm gonna go run and tell mommy and daddy and Jed. I want to keep Brandon. Okay, and I love Brandon. Brother, I'm happy you got paid because you got hurt. And I'm with you. I think the guys wanted to get paid because they didn't believe in this team. Look at, I hate to say it. We're trying to run. I like Robert Saleh. He's what we need, but we're trying to bring the band.
Thought like, hey, we're gonna run it back. And we're gonna win the Super Bowl this year. Like, let's wait a year before we get our money. Right? Let's give this one more shot. Like, nah, man, I need my money right freaking now. Right now.
I don't blame. And this year, okay, we're trying to run it back. We're kind of stuck, Grant. I don't trust the Yorks. I do not trust the Yorks. I love John Lynch as a face of the franchise, but he has no power. And he'll tell a guy off.
He's just a face, and there's got to be more. Yeah,
there's more, but but he ain't over Kyle. That's for damn sure.
What's kind of rough is like, man, Adam Peters looks like a GM who isn't just a face. Maybe he could have been the guy. He was in your organization for 7 years. Maybe you could have been like, you know what? Adam does all the work, and John does the speeches. Maybe Adam could give a speech because he does the work. The work is good. Too late.
They're just with this situation where the CEO answers to mommy and daddy and the GM answers to the coach. We're kind of stuck because we're kind of like, you can only go so high. But we don't have a lot of other options. So I'm
This is ultimately going to be a showdown between Kyle and mommy and daddy, and I freaking can't wait. I can't wait.
You know
what? On Denise. I got Denise plus 400.
Yeah. So I mean, but this is why you're not confident, even though reports are out that Robert Saleh is actually coming here. We know he's damn well not the first choice. There might be other teams where but there's a better roster on defense, including Detroit. I don't know how much. I'm happy we're willing to pay. Jed York, thank you for bringing us to Santa Clara. It's not San Francisco, but it's not LA. But we're up here. We're not the Jaguars, but man, I don't see us beating the Chiefs. I love Robert Saleh. We were really good under him. I don't see him beating the Chiefs. And if he comes back, we got our man, no problem. But here's what I don't hear. I don't hear about the 49ers interviewing young talent, bringing in new blood. We needed new blood in the draft. We needed to replace Drake Greenlaw.
Trading Deebo Samuel. They're still here. They're still here.
Yeah.
The party ended days ago. Go home. It's over. It's 2025. Yes. You guys got to go.
And this to me, we're focused on Kyle. It's not. It's Jed York, because I love Deebo. I love Brock Purdy, man. But is he worth the money? Somebody has to make a tough decision here. And Jed York, he don't want to be the guy. He doesn't want to be the bad guy, man. And in business, in football, someone's got to be the bad guy.
Someone's got to be the bad guy, man. I don't know what to tell you, man. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah, and that's why we're all trepidation. I do have a little more conspiracy theory. Pete Carroll came out of nowhere with the Raiders. It wouldn't surprise me if Mark Davis just hired Pete Carroll out of nowhere because he was talking to the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers. It wouldn't surprise me. I wouldn't put him above them because that's who they are. I have no evidence, but I wouldn't put it past. It wouldn't surprise me. So anyway, this is the last thing I'm going to say because I know we got to go. These decisions are hard decisions. I like Deebo. He put it. I know he's not in shape. One truth. Another truth is he puts his heart on the line, plays running back, right? So it's a hard decision to let a man like that go. Trey, I think we would have won the Super Bowl if Trey Graham would have played. But that's where we always are. That's where we always are. Okay, we might have to let him go. And that's a hard decision. I love Brock Purdy, but we might have to say, brother, I love you at 30, 40, 49. Man, I would love to say, hey, Brock, please give us a break. Walk into Jed York's office. Jed, I'm worth 60, but I'll play for 49 million, Jed. 49 for a 49er. And we need an injection of life in the 49er organization. I don't see it with the old guys. I don't see guys making tough decisions, and I don't see Kyle bringing in new blood with new voices to inject life in this organization, and that's why we are stale. And when you are stale, you will fail. And that's it, brother. And I'm hoping I'm wrong, but my heart is with the 49ers. I'm going to cheer for them and keep my Super 49er stuff up. I love them. I'm faithful. But in reality, Grant, do you see a Super Bowl team even with a good draft?
No, I do not. Gary,
I know.
Great call.
All right, brother. God bless you.
God bless you too, man. Flav says, forgot to ask, what do you think are fair expectations for Saleh and the D this year? Great question. How about top 10? Top 10 in yards, fewest yards allowed, fewest points allowed. I think that's kind of what they're hoping for, bringing back someone like Robert Saleh, making him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league. See what I'm saying? Hey, though, before we go, let's get a little sleeper action. Because this show, if you haven't noticed, is sponsored by Sleeper Picks. Okay. Let's go with the big boys. Saquon Barkley. Rushing yards, 129. I don't like that at all. Receiving yards. Rushing touchdowns. It's like they have to come from far out, right? Because if they get in close, it's always going to be Jalen Hurts. NFC Championship, though, I'm going to give him the touchdown. I don't know why. I just talked myself into it and out of it in 5 seconds. Jalen Hurts. Passing yards, 183.5. No, I don't think so. I don't have confidence in Jalen Hurts to hit that. Jaden Daniels How about rushing yards for Jaden Daniels? 54.5 for Jaden. It's a lot. It's a lot. But he might have to run a lot because Philly's got a really good defense with some good DBs. I'm going to say more on the rushing yards for Jaden. Great name. Josh Allen. How about you? Rushing touchdowns. Easy. Yes. Patrick Mahomes. He's good. How about passing yards? 250. Boy. I'm going to say yeah. AFC Championship game, he's throwing for more if he needs to. Those are my picks. I'm going to stick with those. Flex it, submit it, lock it in. Boom. Those are the picks. Check out the Sleeper app yourself. Download the Sleeper app. Use promo code Cohn and get entered to win that George Kittle jersey over my right shoulder right here. Right there. It's signed by George Kittle. Yes, just download the Sleeper app and use promo code COHN, and then boom, you're entered to win. I gave away a signed Ricky Pearsall jersey a few weeks ago. I gave away a signed Brandon Ayuk jersey earlier this year. These really get given away. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching today. Are they keeping Moody? I don't know. He's still here, and I don't know why. That's the show. Thanks for calling in. Have a great Friday. I'll see you guys soon. Appreciate you as always.